right, guys, it's Jerry Mason, the Kickin lawyer, here for another Law Talk. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch and follow our stuff. And if you haven't, please do that. Please like, follow, subscribe to the podcast. We are on all podcast platforms, all social media platforms, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc. So make sure you check us out on all that. And then, I always want to remind everybody who's been a great supporter of our show. Michelle Allen is a local realtor. And if you have any interest in buying, selling, renting, leasing real estate, she will help you out. Michelle Allen with Cry Like Realtors. She's also a good community leader. We love Michelle. And then if you want to learn to kick and punch, one of my longtime businesses since 1993, you visit masonsmartialarts.com. Been open training champions, kids, adults, everybody. Open 6 days a week. Check us out. Another one of my businesses on the square here is Jam Books and Records. We have new books, signed memorabilia, records, and comic books. You can check us out. Again, also open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. And then my wife's clinic and Dr. Laura Huffman's clinic, Holistic Healthcare and Hormones, will help you maximize your health. They're kind of specializing in female health, so make sure you give them a holler. And then if you need help with social media marketing, branding, etc., you can visit masonitemarketing.com and help you with videography, any of that kind of stuff you got going. Now, I am excited today to have the guest that I have, because as most of you that know any of this, when I actually have somebody I can talk to about it, I enjoy politics. And so we have a pretty heated state representative race for our district here in this area. And just full transparency, I invited both candidates to come on the podcast because I would like to be the debate guy. I would like to be the guy that when we have a couple of good candidates, they can come and we can have a good conversation that's fair and hear from both candidates. We didn't hear from the opponent. It's not that he turned it down. We just didn't hear back from the opponent. So right now I'm going to be interviewing Brett Giannini. Did I get it right?
You did.
I got it right. And I've seen his signs everywhere, but honestly, he and I met 10 minutes ago. This is the first time I've met him. Now, we do have this in common. We're both cops, and you just officially retired this 4th of July?
Just a few days ago.
Well, congratulations on that. And that was 20 years in Memphis.
Well, 26 years.
Oh, that's nuts, man. And then I know you were military before.
I was active duty from 93 to 98.
Okay.
Got out, got on the Memphis Police Department.
So been a cop the whole
Long
time.
story short, I went back and I was out for 17 years. I went back in 2015, and I'm still working the security forces at Maxwell Air Force Base. I've got about 3 years left to make 20.
Reserve Army?
Air Force.
Reserve Air Force. Oh, that's why Brian would like you. So my law partner was a major in the Air Force.
Okay.
And he left the Air Force after, I don't know, like 13, 14 years. Mm-hmm. He was JAG for a while. He flew C-130s. Like, he's way smarter than me. But anyway, so that makes sense. Let's start with that then. So why don't you tell everybody what you're running for? You sort of give them the short, quick, fast, dirty sort of background, and why you're asking for their vote, I guess.
I'm running for state representative. District 81 in Tennessee. It covers all of Tipton and a little halo around Brownsville. Mm-hmm. Brownsville City is not in it, but it's a halo over there. I've been an alderman in Atoka for 18 years, county commissioner. So when Deborah decided to retire, I'm a conservative. I've been for always. We'll probably get into that later. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to see what I could do on the state level. Mm-hmm. And, threw my hat in the ring, and oddly enough, only 2 people decided to get in the race. Yeah. Well, politics is rough.
Like I ran for city alderman here in Covington. I say alderman, I think we called them, I can't remember city councilman or alderman now. But anyway, I ran here and in 2020. And I had a big plan. And I've always been a Republican. Like, I'm registered Republican, but I don't like to say I'm a Republican because I think people immediately cast judgment on you when you say you're a Republican.
Some do, yeah.
I'm more of a libertarian, all right? Socially, I'm very liberal. Fiscally, I'm very Republican. I'm very pro-capitalism, pro-small government, less taxes, all of that, right? But anyway, when I ran, I was just surprised because so many people, and I'm curious to hear your experience in campaigning so far, so many people were not interested in my policies. They wanted to know who my mom and daddy was. They wanted to know who I voted for president, And I just didn't see that was really relevant, especially for a local city seat, So anyway, I guess let's start with this question. So what has been your experience on the campaign trail? Like, what seem to be the hot button issues that voters are interested in this district?
Well, during this campaign, it's supporting the president's agenda, which clearly I do. But I've also had it, a lot of questions about schools, paving. Some of the streets need some help. We all know that. But in past campaigns, it's kind of those same questions, because those are nonpartisan races, and so people don't really expect, we wouldn't vote on, guns in parks or abortion and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and they know that, so they're not asking those kinds of questions. But during this is a new campaign for me. It's a whole bigger district than Atoka is.
Sure.
So I'm getting some of those questions.
And so why don't you, a little more detail, walk us through the background? Where are you from? Military,
Sure.
cop, whole deal.
I grew up in Bartlett, Tennessee. We moved there from Memphis around the Oak Haven area when I was about 2. Grew up there, went through Shelby County schools all through my career. Probably about 11th grade, took a civics class, government. I got interested. So I would go to the Bartlett Mayor and Board of Aldermen meetings. Really got interested in that. And I went so much that Mayor Flaherty came down and said, I see you here, every 2 weeks. Would you be interested in serving on a board? I said, sure, absolutely. I didn't know really what he meant at the time. But he put me on the Bartlett City Beautiful Board. So we did things to beautify Bartlett, you can understand. And from there, I graduated. I went on to the Air Force. But I never really lost that love of serving and government, I guess, making sure government does what it's supposed to for the people. So after the Air Force, got on the Memphis Police Department in 2000, served in patrol, served 4 years in the organized crime unit, was promoted to sergeant, went to felony response as an investigator, and that's kind of like a triage for crime. Went to homicide for a little while, got promoted to lieutenant, and they moved me to crime scene where I supervised a shift of crime scene officers. So, and that's what I did up until a few days ago.
So it was CID then, it sounds like, at the end mostly.
It's like CID.
Gotcha. So we had to cross paths. I became a deputy in 2002 and then left in 2014 to go to law school. And so we were cops around together at the same time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I had to cross paths with you. So, I still, even though I only do criminal defense now, so I'm literally the other side, but I have an interesting perspective because I was a cop 12 years, and then now I've been doing this about 10 years. And so one of my questions, this would be sort of specific to you. My partner and I were just talking about this in court this morning. I really think I wish that prosecutors had to also do defense work, and that judges had to do both prosecution and defense work before taking the bench. Because, no offense to cops, I love them. I still support them and train them, and I'm very pro-cop, right? I want my neighborhood to be safe too.
Absolutely.
I live here. At the same time, we're human, and we're all human. Cops are human, and sometimes they make error. And so my concern sometimes with people that are sort of a long history of law enforcement or never seen the other side is, one, can you relate to the other side? Those people can vote too and need representation. And two, can you take blinders off when you're looking at legislation that's going to affect crime and punishment type stuff? You know what I mean? And I'm sure your answer would be yeah, but I don't know. What's your view on that? What you think about, because you're going to have to take the badge off, so to speak, when you're representing everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it's the Constitution. I'm not going to sit here and say that I haven't seen officers, take creative writing courses and apply that in their reports. I don't agree with it, but it happens. It's not prevalent, so to speak, but it does happen. And I've worked with many defense attorneys when I was in the organized crime unit, flipping suspects and the like to get a bigger case.
Well, I don't mean to infer, I don't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
I don't mean to infer that I think cops are lying. My experience was probably similar to yours. I think most of the time they're all trying to do a good job. So I don't think it's an intentional miscarriage of justice. But I'll give you an example. People lie. So you go take a report as a cop, this one witness is saying one thing, and then that's the only evidence against the other side. And you still got to do what you got to do. If you got probable cause, you got probable cause. But my point is, the judge is an example, and you would be an example because you are going to have more of the forest than the trees that maybe the cop sees. And when you're looking at legislation that you got to pass that's going to affect these people, I'll give you an example: DUIs. Man, I get it. You shouldn't drink and drive, no doubt, right? But Tennessee has the stiffest punishments in the United States on DUIs. They just passed last January, almost unanimously in the Congress, where implied consent was changed from, it used to be 12 months, now it's an 18-month suspension on implied consent if you decide you don't want to give blood or breath. Sometimes people don't understand the advisement, and sometimes people, are exercising their right to not self-incriminate, not, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then here's the problem that I think the politicians aren't seeing. When you pass that legislation, oh yeah, it all sounds great and everybody can get behind no DUIs, but now this person can't work because they don't have a license, and then it's a ripple effect on their family and all these other people. Now, they created it if they were drinking and driving, but like I have cases where they weren't. Like it's literally the BAC they give blood, it comes back 0-0, and then there's still this heavy-handedness on they've gotten this DUI charge. So again, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but my point is, it's not that I think the cops are wrong or bad. I would just like to know that I have somebody that's, when you're in the forest position, can take that into consideration, instead of the pressure from the Republican side of punishment, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do agree with you. Some of our DUI laws are really harsh as far as, keeping someone from working or getting to work, to continue to work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's just something we'll have to look at. I hadn't gone into it a whole lot, but I do believe in you need to be punished for your crimes, and it's not a victimless crime.
No, I agree with you.
And I don't believe you're saying that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But you're right, and I don't. Everybody always gives me pushback when I go on these rants. Yeah, they shouldn't drink and drive. You're getting them off. Sometimes they don't drink and drive, and they're still being prosecuted for it. And then the people are making judgment before they've been convicted. The court of public opinion, they're getting prosecuted and convicted before there's any piece of evidence out. Right. And that frustrates me. And so
I can understand that, especially from your point of view. Mm-hmm. There was a case at the THP, or several cases. There was a huge news story on it, and that's concerning. I probably, if I was sitting up there, I would have had some questions for the colonel. Mm-hmm. I would have listened to his answers. Yeah.
Well, that
was just, some serious.
That's a good example of kind of what I'm talking about. You would relate to this because you would remember as a cop doing field sobriety tests, right? Well, if you look at the actual history of why field sobriety tests were developed, it wasn't to clean the streets of drunk drivers. It was to, in my opinion, arrest people. That's what the whole thing was for, right? Yeah. And they're not foolproof, right? So my point is, you get up there and you're sitting in a state representative seat, legislation comes by, and it's based on something like that is very one-sided. The cops all think it's gospel. And if you actually unbiasedly look at it, field sobriety is not. Like, I don't ever care if they do field sobriety. Yeah. So I would just hope that you're able to be open-minded on it and not just party lines. It's like I said before we started. I was explaining to him, I just want to make sure that whoever gets this seat, because I told him I haven't decided who I'm personally voting for, right? That's why I'm entertaining all this. I just want to make sure that, and I'm sure you have a backbone, but you know what I mean, that you're not just going to be party lines. You're going to be open-minded to what's the best for the people.
I think if you ask anybody, again, I've got a record, 18 years as an alderman, 4 as a county commissioner. If you ask anybody if I'm my own man, I will, or I am. And I had an attorney recently tell somebody that, he even disagrees with me sometimes. I don't want to put their name out, but so if that doesn't tell you that, I've got my own opinions and I will do what's right. And I tell everybody, I'm going to go to sleep at night with a clear conscience. I'm not going to vote for something that I don't truly believe in, for a friend, for a party, for a pack. I'm going to sleep each night with a clear conscience.
Well, and the next question we sort of talked about before, and I'm not going to get as specific as I did before we started, but some people in the community have issues with some people in the Republican Party, and I'm a member of the Republican Party, and so there seems to be a rift where some people are like, well, if these folks are supporting you, I'm not supporting you, and they just automatically, kind of like if you got a D or an R by your name, it's whether I got you or not, right?
Yeah. You're 100% right.
So what would your response be to folks like that have concerns about like which side of that line you lie on.
Well, if that's how they feel, I think it's short-sighted. I mean, I think you need to look at the candidates. You know, there's Republicans that don't support the president.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I do. If there's somebody that's helping me in my campaign that you don't like, you know, that's on you. I'm not going to try and win your vote because I have somebody that's working hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they believe in what I'm doing, and I'm just not here to convince you to vote for me for that reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give me a chance to win your vote because how I'm going to be, not how somebody helping me is.
So that's a good transition to this question then. And again, it's not to crap on your opponent, you know what I mean? But like, what do you think you're bringing to the table that maybe your opponent isn't, or like, why specifically should people vote for you?
Well, first and foremost, I think my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's an alderman and county commission, it is a legislative position. I have to work with others in a group because I don't just get to choose, you know, what it's going to be. Sometimes you'll have to compromise, you know, whether it's a 1 cent tax increase or a 10-cent tax increase.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the first thing. I've been there, I've done it, had to negotiate, but I chose this seat. You know, I didn't look to see what other seats were out there. I knew when Representative Moody wasn't going to run that I was, in this seat only. And of course, if she had run, I wouldn't be running. I think she's done a great job, and I supported her 100%. But I was decisive about this seat, and I don't think the other candidate can say that.
So bringing up Ms. Deborah, which I have said multiple times, I'm a big fan of, known her since I was a kid. She's a great woman. I saw a video a few months back, and I messaged her about it because I'm going to go ahead and tell you now, violence is not the answer. Sometimes it's the question, though. And it was the video of all those folks around her,
horrible.
just how they were talking to her. And so I'm going to ask you this question because I'm going to go and tell you now. If I had been the representative, I'm not sure that I wouldn't have been able to give them the question, if you know what I mean.
Well, see, this is the thing, Jerry. They wouldn't have done that to you.
Yeah,
They're
you're probably
cowards.
right. Yeah.
They're absolute cowards.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying all of them are, but the ones that were there doing that to her, absolute cowards. And I guarantee you they wouldn't have done that to you, and they wouldn't have done that to me. You know, I'm glad that Representative Vaughn and the troopers were there, because they could have got worse. You know, it could have been more than just talk, and I wouldn't put it past them. It sickened me too. It was horrible. I texted her that night, as I'm sure, you know, hundreds or if not thousands did, and said, "I'm sorry. You know, you do not deserve that." And you know, for your years of service, and she didn't. Nobody does.
She didn't deserve it. No, I agree. Even if there had been a Democrat,
right? Absolutely.
There's no reason for people to do that to somebody, to another.
I would
human.
never do that. To a Democrat.
And it's a horrible look at the opponent party too. Right. You know, that you're coming at her that way. That is just, you know. But look, man, I've told people before personally. My father was like salt of the earth, great Christian man. Almost went to seminary. Turn the other cheek, kindest soul you could ever meet, right? So I would go to school. If I got picked on, he would hug me and comfort me. My mother was known as the Bride Road Brawler. And if I come home and got picked on, she would bring me back to whip the kid that picked on me. And so as a cop or as an adult, I can reason with people. I can talk with them. And I always say I have that little Mason angel over here of my dad of listen, be calm. But when stuff's going sideways and you got to throw a human through a window, my mama's side steps up. And so my point is, I don't know that I could have controlled myself with people talking and acting funky like that. So, and honestly, I don't know that I would blame you if you didn't, if they were there talking like that to you.
They were close to her. They were in her
I think they did put hands on her. I think if somebody touched them, again, violence isn't the answer, people. But like I said, sometimes it's the question. So,
well, what are we trained as police officers? You know, you can't always wait because then it could be too late.
Especially if you got that many folks around you.
Absolutely. So
anyway, man, that got me fired up. I asked her the next time she was there, and this is before I knew she was retiring. I was like, let me come with you. You know, I'm a citizen. I got locked up. I got a diversion. I can use my diversion one time for that.
There you go.
If I need to. I'm just joking, but anyway, I'm kind of joking. Yeah. So, okay. Well, have you had any, your experience has been, because you said commissioner, county commission and Atoka city alderman, right? What were the years for those two spots?
Actually, I'm serving in both.
I didn't know you could do that. Really? So you're county commissioner actively and the city alderman.
Correct.
Okay.
I was first elected in 2008 as an alderman in Atoka. And then 2022, I was elected as county commissioner.
Okay.
Again, I never had really any intention of doing it, but it was just like this time. Mm-hmm. There's two positions for each district. Well, nobody had filed. Nobody had filed to run. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have to have somebody there to represent us, right? Mm-hmm. Look at the county mayor. Billy Darter. He's a great guy. But it's surprising to me that not more than one person was interested in that. Mm-hmm. Same for mine and Jason's race. Only two people in a county of 60,000. Plus, Haywood's got, 17,000 folks maybe? Mm-hmm. So you're looking at 77,000 people and only two are interested. I don't know. It's strange to me.
Well, it's a rough business, I think, like I told you. And it can be expensive. I assume you've raised money.
I have.
That's how you're funded. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got folks that are supporting you, which is great. But I think that's part of why I haven't run for a bigger office than a city seat is I swore, and I'm not knocking people that have taken, you have to, especially the bigger elections. But I was like, I don't want to take money. I didn't want to be beholden to anybody. I wanted to make sure people know I was my own person.
That's fair. I didn't raise any money in any of my alderman or commission seats. You didn't have to.
Yeah.
You could,
but like you say,
knock on doors and
this is a little bigger race.
Excuse me. It is. And the only two, I guess, they're political action committees that I've taken anything from is the Memphis Police Association, which I've been a member of for 26 years. Mm-hmm. They donated $1,000, mm-hmm. and I've contributed to that over that year, those years. And Americans for Prosperity has endorsed me. Now, they didn't give me a direct contribution, but they have done some mailers for me.
Okay.
So
I'm not familiar with that one.
It's a conservative group, believe in low taxes, less government, deregulate. Some of the committees and boards that Tennessee has that really the legislature will pass a law and it goes to the board. Well, then the board will create rules that have the effect of law. But it was never what the legislature intended. So now you're costing small business money, regulations that were really never intended. And we just don't believe, or I don't believe that, those should have the effect of law.
Well, educate me a little bit then, because you made me think of something. Because I think you and Jason both are Republicans,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But we had the primary. Y'all didn't run it's not partisan for the primary, so it's just you're running in the general election, both of you, and you're just both openly Republican. Is that how it is?
Here's the thing, and the state legislature is working on fixing this, and I'll explain that in a minute. So you have a county primary, which was what the Democrat and the local Democrat and Republican parties called for.
Okay.
Right? So those are for races. County commission, the clerk's offices, the mayor. Okay, that occurs in May.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all that's really for.
Gotcha.
Now, you have their general election, which is the August 6th election. Mm-hmm. But that is the state offices and federal offices primary. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then whoever wins our primary.
So your primary is actually August 6th.
Correct. Yeah.
And so right now you don't know if there will be a Democratic.
There is no Democrat that qualified.
Oh, okay. So y'all are it. So basically the election is the primary.
That is correct. Whoever wins this primary will be your next state representative.
Gotcha. Okay. Huh. Yeah, I wondered about that. I was actually talking to who was it? Was somebody I was talking to about that very thing, because I was like, I didn't remember seeing y'all's names on the local election because I vote in the primaries or whatever, which is another thing I would recommend everybody do.
There's not a whole lot of people do.
No, they don't. It's a shocker. And the thing that frustrates me with all of you watching is they'll fuss about national stuff, But really, you are going to have a lot more power to affect me directly than the president is.
100%.
And then they won't even, people won't even know you.
Day in and day out, your local government is who can do you the most good and do you the most harm in cases. I've always said that.
Yeah.
And it's 100% true.
Yeah, I agree.
They raise your property taxes. They can also raise sales tax. It's a local option tax. They have the ability to do that through a referendum.
They can also help filter money into your community.
They raise fees
or take it away.
Water and sewer rates. So yeah, absolutely.
Well,
if you don't vote in, I wish you'd vote in everything, but not you specifically, but anybody. Vote in your local elections. If you only can vote at one time, vote in your local elections.
Well, let me ask you sort of a lateral question here, since you were Toca City, and this is more of a brag on you guys. Covington. So you were originally from Memphis, so you may not know this. When I was born and raised right here. I was born and raised in Covington. I'm from here, born here, lived here my whole life. Covington is the county seat. It's where the government is and everything. Well, Covington used to be the biggest city. And when I was a kid, Munford and Atoka, there wasn't even an Atoka school. Munford High was there. Brighton didn't even have a school when I was a kid. And then over the course of like high school, I think they opened Brighton High. I think I'd already graduated when they opened Brighton High. So you eventually had the 3 high schools. But my point is this. Somehow you guys in Atoka have just blown it up. The retail development, the restaurant development, the real estate, the private residences, and all that. Now I know it's come with its own problems. Like I know y'all are probably having some water treatment issues and all that, right? Which
got that straightened out, but yeah,
that's great
for a long time.
It's growing pains, right? Mm-hmm. So what do you feel like, since it sounds like you've been there the majority of time? And again, I'm not knocking that Covington doesn't have it, but what was the key? What drew all those people to that area in Tipton County?
Well, it's a couple of things, but the main thing is people in Shelby County were voting with their feet and moving up here. And Charles Walker, saw that. Mm-hmm. And I think he would tell you he was a farmer that became a developer. So he developed a lot of that land, and he gave an outlet for those that were fleeing Shelby County. They still wanted to be close. Mm-hmm. They didn't want to drive as far to Covington because they still worked in Shelby County. Mm-hmm. So that was the main driver. And again, it was low taxes, good schools. And I think now you'll see that, the growth is slowing a little bit. It's still pretty steady, don't get me wrong, but it's slowing a little bit now that the municipalities in Shelby County have created their own school systems. Mm-hmm. That was the big driver.
Gotcha.
Right there was the schools.
They didn't want to do the Memphis schools.
That's correct.
I got you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was a deputy when there was first the development there, and I saw the plantation, Walker Plantation, all that stuff, all that development. I remember when it was just first coming up. It was very impressive, the number of people coming in. But still though, even with people, yes, businesses come, but y'all have done something that's helped your area grow. So whatever decisions y'all have made, I don't know if it was a plan. I don't know if you got somebody that's reaching out to them, but you're getting more retail, more restaurants. It seems like all the time are opening up down there. You got Starbucks now, right?
Starbucks, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, those are in Munford's. The Munford side is really developing over there, and it looks good.
Yeah.
A lot of the Atoka side are older buildings, and now the owners have done a lot of renovation to them, and they're starting to look good.
But they were the first developed, though.
They were the first.
That side where you got like Toka Fitness, Kevin's place, and the tire place, and I remember when all that was developing up. Yeah. And that was before they just now really started to develop the Munford side.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it sort of long term. I don't know what y'all did, but I think you've done something right, drawing the people in and keeping them there. And then, so what is the fix now on this water treatment issue I know was going on?
Well, Atoka, Brighton, and Munford, there were capacity issues with the lagoon. Mm-hmm. And, we had an agreement that was 30 years old. And so that had to be renegotiated. Anything 30 years old is just not the same as it was, especially with all the growth as you talked about.
Yeah.
So the 3 cities renegotiated that, to where there's enough capacity. The lagoon is being expanded.
Okay.
So there's enough capacity for growth for everybody.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it worked out. It was a good thing.
Yeah.
Between the mayors of those 3 cities and the attorneys worked those details out, and we're happy with it.
Being in Atoka, you never thought about leaving Memphis and working for Atoka PD?
Not at the time. I mean, I think if I wouldn't be running for this, I might consider that. I would have to step down off the board, which I don't know if I would do that because I enjoy it so much. But Atoka just can't pay as much. And we're a one-income family. My wife has never worked. We agreed early in our relationship that we wanted at least one parent there home to raise
that's
the
a
kids.
blessing.
And we were fortunate to be able to do that. And Memphis helped with that.
Well, speaking of that, you haven't talked about family yet. You have kids.
Yeah, I've got 2. My son Alan is 26 now, or 28. I'm sorry. He is a staff sergeant in the Army.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's stationed up in Washington, D.C. He does IT, cybersecurity type stuff. And Mary, my daughter, lives at home with us. She's 23, and she's working on her doctorate in biology.
Nice.
Through the University of Memphis. So, yeah.
What's she want to do with that? Teach, med school, yeah.
No, I don't think she's going to go to med school. I think it's research.
Gotcha.
That's what she really loves.
Are you smart like that? Is that where she got
No,
it?
absolutely not. I mess with my wife all the time. Are you sure these are mine?
Yeah.
But yeah, they it's funny. My son hardly ever took a book home. Made A's and B's all through school. Really, really smart. But my daughter, she has worked so hard to get where she's at. Not that, she put in the work.
Gotcha.
And she's going to do whatever she wants to do. And that's probably what makes me the proudest of her, is that she is very much goal-oriented right now at such an early age.
That's great. So I have my 28-year-old's in the Navy.
Okay.
He's in San Diego right now. He's fixing to be transferred to Virginia. He was attached to a certain unit that I can't talk about, but now he was working to be in that unit. He went through attempts to be in that unit twice, and now he's attached to that unit as an armorer. So anyway,
it's a foot in the door.
Yeah, no, I think he might. They get 3 shots. I don't know if he's going to do the next one. He got hurt this last time, but it's fine. He went more than I did.
Yeah, I can imagine what it is, and man, bless him for that.
Yeah,
for even wanting to do it.
Yeah, he's a good dude. And then I have 4 kids, so I have 3 boys and a daughter. My daughter just turned 25 Sunday, and then I got 26-year-old that's married with a kid. He's a financial planner, so I'm a grandfather now. My grandson is 8 months. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. I got my daughter, and then my baby boy is 21. He just signed a lease on a house in Memphis. Got his first big house at High Point. The High Point Terrace area.
I patrolled over there for a little while.
Yeah.
High Point and what? The
High,
cross street?
it's the cross street's not good. But it's where there's like the grocery.
Yeah.
High Point.
But that's not a bad.
It's
area
right
there
at the corner of it.
That's a pretty neat. Just as long as he keeps his stuff locked up.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of violent crime over there, but they'll steal your lawnmower if you leave it in the front.
Yeah.
lawn.
Now he doesn't have one to steal. But anyway, he signed a lease on a house over there. He got a job, his first big boy job. So anyway, my kids are all doing great. I'm proud of them. That's great to hear about yours.
Yeah, I'm extremely proud.
Yeah. Hey, sorry about that too on the heat. So Josh will not turn this air conditioner on till we get done because it's loud.
With the sound. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So if we go
dump this jacket here.
If we go long, we get to sweating.
That's
that made me. I want to ask you something else though, just so people know you a little better. So what do you do when you're not trying to politic? Like, what do you enjoy doing?
Well, I like golfing. I'm not very good at it. I like to tell people I don't play well, but I do play fast. So it's a hobby, and this is, and I hate to say it like this, but I like it. I like politics like a hobby, and I hate to even use the word politics because at least when I'm up to now, it hadn't been politics. We just want to keep your streets paved, the water clean, police and fire, and have public works employees that'll be there when you need them. Because it is a serious business, You're taking care of citizens. But it feels like a hobby because I enjoy doing it so much.
That's good.
So,
well, I hope you always do.
Yeah.
If you get the spot, I hope that it continues to be something that brings you pleasure. And then, man, I don't know how Nashville is. I haven't been there. I'm sure it's not quite a cesspool as we assume federal level stuff is, but I'm sure
Lord,
there's.
I hope not.
I'm sure there's elements that are questionable there too, so I just hope you can stay true. The plus is regardless, I would assume you're going to try to make decisions that's good for here. Because
Absolutely.
this is where you live.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you're kind of planted here.
Yeah.
So to be here. Cool. Well, why don't you let everybody know one more time, again, what you're running for, how to select you, the day to vote, and all that.
Well, I'm running for state representative for District 81. That covers all of Tipton and a little halo around Brownsville and Haywood County. Early voting starts July 17th, so we're coming right up on that. Make your decision quick, and I hope it's me. But the actual election day is August 6th. And let me give a plug for anybody that wants to come. Tomorrow, the 9th, July 9th, at the distillery here in Covington, we're having kind of a little thank you, a little celebration, a little rally to get people out to vote for me.
Cool. 797 with Darren.
797 with Darren. Yeah, super guy. I love that place over there. I don't even drink liquor, but
I do.
I have a great time over there.
We go there.
I like beer now.
I go there all the time.
Yeah.
Me and Darren are good buddies now. People think I own the place because I advertise for him so much, but I'm walking distance from it. My house is right off the square here, so I like being able to drive. Yeah, don't drink drive, just walk. Anyway, I like to walk down there and walk back. It's a great place. Have you been there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
I didn't know. Has he taken you and shown you the little tour?
He did.
Okay,
he did
nice.
do that, and that was really awesome. I knew Darren's mother.
Okay.
She was, and this is going way back to 2008 when I first ran for alderman. If she wasn't the first, she might have been the second sign that I got in somebody's yard that I didn't know when I was just going around door to door. And we kept in contact for a little while until, unfortunately, she passed away. And I loved her to death.
Yeah, they're great folks. I love Darren and Rochelle's wife. They're really good folks, and I'm excited because I'm all about Covington. Like I love Atoka Munford, but I've decided I've had businesses there. Had one in Millington recently. We had a law firm in Somerville, but as I've gotten older, my goals are spend time with my grandkid and travel with my wife, and so I'm going to invest in Covington. That's my goal. And you're running for state rep, which Covington is in that district, so I'm very interested in supporting somebody that's going to be very pro our community.
Oh, absolutely. So. I've done a lot of things in here in Covington since I've decided to run. I've gotten to know Covington so much better than I did before, and that's on me for not. There's so much to offer here. Just during the Main Street Festival last weekend or weekend before last, I was down here, and I think we ended up my wife and I ended up walking around, and we spent probably close to $300 in stores that I never knew were here.
Yeah, well, I hope you go to Jam Books and Records.
Jam Books and Records.
That's my bookstore. You have to make sure you check it out. Yeah.
We'll definitely check that out.
Good.
But yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be, I like to tell people I'm a homer, because I am. I'll defend and protect whatever I'm responsible for. I'm a Memphis Tigers fan because the Memphis Tigers are in this area. I'll defend Atoka, Munford, Brighton, Covington, Gilt Edge, Gift, Drummond's, Burleson, all of them. Because that's who I'm going to be responsible for, and all the way into Haywood County. I went to Haywood today and met some good folks, and I've got another meeting out there Thursday in the morning. So I'm getting to know this county, and there's so much beautiful property out here, man. When you get off into the woods, golly, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, our whole community has a lot of character.
It does.
And Covington has its own vibe, and I think sometimes it gets a bad rep. And I have, like I said, lived here my whole life. My house is right over the hill. Businesses are here. I run in the community, walk, know everybody. It's a safe place. It's a good community. And like I said, I just want to see there's more investment in our area and more growth in our area. I always say this: when I was running for alderman, one of the knocks that I got is I had this plan to create a TIF district down by the railroad tracks where Darren's place is, because that place would be awesome as like an arts district, Midtown vibe.
Which reminds me of Midtown,
Broadway
area.
Exactly. That's what I was wanting to do. And some of the people, to my surprise, didn't want any growth at all. And what I was trying to explain to them is, look, growth is coming. You're either going to get the negative growth, not knocking the businesses, but like check cash in places, your liquor stores, all this kind of stuff. Now these vape shops, or positive growth, which is what I feel like Munford and Atoka's done pretty well, right? I just want to get that kind of stuff in my community.
Yeah,
So.
and there's such the architecture here for it, the old buildings, the historic square, you know, and expand that into the Depot District. Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
it really
be great.
would.
I used to
I was
own
at Liberty Treasure.
Liberty
today.
Vintage Marketplace.
Liberty Vintage, and as we were walking around, I looked at the windows and it had the old bricks. You know, it's just, I don't know, man. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, at least Keith, they've done a real good job with that building.
She has.
Yeah. I had owned the Cellar restaurant. So I was one of the first group that opened it, and then we sold out 3 years ago. And, of course, now it's closed. But I had this idea to have music everywhere, to have music in my bookstore, music at the restaurant, music at Darren's, music at Lisa's, music on the square, music at the Ruffin, because I was on the board here.
You walk,
is have a very artsy, fun, exciting, safe, nightlife here around Covington. Anyway, that would still be great. My goal, I have a personal goal. I want my kids and grandkids to want to live in Covington and not feel like they have to go to Memphis.
Absolutely.
I want them to be able to enjoy the community and have opportunities just like you would elsewhere. So
yeah, and I agree 100%. I hope my kids come back here.
Yeah.
You know, the path they're on right now, I'm not sure that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it sounds like, Washington, D.C.,
Well, he's just stationed up there.
I got you.
I don't know, but he enjoys it. He enjoys it up there.
That's great. Well, I think it's great for him to travel and experience things and do that. I mean, you military, you know what I'm talking about. I think it's great for a young man to do that and serve.
Yeah, agreed.
So, well, look, it's really nice to meet you, Brett. I'm excited for you. I'm definitely leaning your way. I'm going to wait and see if we get a response from your opponent. Maybe I'll get him on here. But
all right, that's your opportunity, Jason.
Yeah. Again, he didn't say no, but he did say yes. So
Right,
we'll
and
see.
don't get me, he's a good guy.
Yeah,
I
I think both of you are good guys. And honestly, you both probably would do well.
Yeah.
But I like meeting you, and it means a lot to me that you would take time to come and talk to me and the people watching.
Yeah, I was thankful for the invite.
Yeah,
really. As soon as I saw it, and I think it was a few days after, but I was like, heck yeah, whatever form you want to do, debate or just. I think the other option was this.
Yeah, I said I think Josh sent either I wanted to do a debate because that's what I would like to move into is being a moderator for debates, and I was gonna get viewers to post questions. Send you guys those in advance, time you, the whole deal. I thought it'd be fun. But if not, I love this format too, just kind of getting to know you.
Well, I've seen your podcast a little bit, and I've seen the Reels videos on Facebook.
Yeah, there's some you probably shouldn't watch.
Well, I mean, I thought they've all been pretty good.
Well, thanks.
But just let me say, I'm glad to be here, and it was a pleasure to meet you. And
yes, sir.
I hope you guys out there will consider me when you go vote. And let me give you my telephone number so you can call me directly or text. It's area code 901-545-9623. I think that's another thing that sets me out. I'm used to being accessible to people because people expect things from their representatives no matter what level of government. And I believe that's our responsibility to be accessible to them.
Yeah.
So
I think that's great. I think you might regret that.
No, I've done it all, ever since I've started running for election because that's what I expect.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you got the time, I've had people call me and say, hey, I'm trying to cross Highway 51, but I can't see over because the grass is so high. Well, I'll go out there and I'll weed eat that grass, right? I'm not going to call and say, oh, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. That's the state's property, and I'm not going to call the state because it'll be 2 weeks before they get out there,
So you're just solving the problem.
Just solve a problem.
Yeah,
That's it. It doesn't take 5 phone calls in 2 weeks to get a problem solved if you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of representation that I want to bring.
Yes, sir.
I picked up trash in the middle of January because the truck missed it. I'll go over there, throw it in my truck, and take it to the dump the next one. That's what we're expected of.
Yeah, well, that's cool. I mean, I think you got to have a servant's heart to serve
Absolutely.
in any of the political positions. And I mean, my hat's off to you because, like you said, anybody could have tried to qualify and run. And there's only 2 of you that did. So best of luck to you on all that.
And I'm proud of the endorsements I've got. If I can shout them out for a few.
Yeah,
minutes.
feel free.
Mayor of Tipton County, or the executive, both sheriffs in Haywood and Tipton County. Most of the county clerks, I believe it's 12 out of the 18 county commissioners, Atoka Alderman, Munford Alderman, Barrett Rich, who was the former representative here before Deborah Moody is supporting me. And I'm proud of those because they know me. They've worked with me.
Did you know my Uncle Jeff Mason? He was a county commissioner for a while.
I did not work with Jeff. I do remember the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was maybe before you, but yeah, he's had experience in it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, it's all good folks. You know, everybody gets political locally, but here's what, and you would probably agree with me on this, even if it was a Democrat. Most of us, most normal people, if we sat down with each other, we're going to agree on more things than we're going to disagree on, you know? And I think generally people aren't running for office for power or clout or whatever. I think most people get in there with the intent of doing good, you know? And so all you can do is try to select someone that, you know, has some moral compass and some interest in the community and trust that they're going to make good decisions, you know? And so I feel like that you would do that, you know? So, and again, I'm very thankful that you came on the show to talk with us, and, you know, hopefully people will weigh that when they make their decision coming up.
And hey, once I'm up in Nashville, call me anytime. I'll come back, or, you know,
well, I appreciate
we'll do it over there.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm up there, whatever, I'd be happy to come back.
Great. Well, if you ever need anybody to be your bodyguard up there, let me know.
Now that would be a little embarrassing.
I think that would be fun.
Might get my butt kicked, but I'm not going to have somebody else fight my own battle.
No. I mean, well, maybe I could just take the lick for you.
Okay. Just one's all you need.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's right.
And then it's history.
And it's Giannini. Am I still saying it right?
Giannini. That's okay.
Giannini.
Either way is fine.
All right,
Like
Brett Giannini, running for state rep. And again, we thank him for coming on the show today. And as always, I thank you guys for taking time to watch us. Always leave me a comment if you made it to the end. I like to know who made it to the end. And if you haven't liked, follow, subscribe to the content, all social media platforms. And again, we're trying to get Instagram is where we're weakest at because I'm not a woman. But anyway, everything else is good. And then speaking of women, you got Michelle Allen is your go-to in the area if you're going to buy, sell, rent, lease real estate. She'd be glad to help you out, so check her out. She's your go-to Cry-Like realtor in the area. Mason's Martial Arts been open since '93. We got our big global championships in 2 weeks. I'll be competing for world champion, and my wife is testing for 6th degree black belt. So we're excited about that. And then Jam Books and Records right here on the square in Covington. New books, used books, signed memorabilia, records, and comic books. Check us out 6 days a week. And then Holistic Healthcare and Hormones. My wife and Dr. Laura, we're glad to help you out with their clinic. It's holistichealthhormones.com. You can check them out. They'd be glad to help you optimize your health. And then last but not least, if you need help with social media marketing, branding, website design, videography, etc., you can visit masonitemarketing.com and we'll get you set up. So you guys have a good rest of your week. Keep kicking. Thanks for watching, guys. Just remember that this is not legal advice or investment advice or business advice. This is for fun and entertainment purposes only.